Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we're talking about why it feels like a competition in the gay community. So, if you are unaware, if you've been living under a rock, if you're a straight person, you might not understand the degree of competition and gossip and just competitive nature of being gay, like what it takes. Um, I think a lot of people sort of look at gay people and go, man, like they always seem like super together and driven and they're always going to the gym and they have degrees and they're doing this and they're doing that and man, they're just so busy. Um, yes, but a big part of it is that we are in this strange competition with one another. Um, I've heard my girlfriends talk about it very similarly, being a woman, having to feel like you're competing with other women and that they're judging you, and that there's all this gossip and back talk and backhanded compliments. And I find that very similar to what the gay community is. Unfortunately, there are these moments where you feel like you're competing. And part of it is because in the gay community, we all know each other. We all know like who went out with brunch, who went out to brunch with this person. We all know who's dating. We all know who's going to Europe for the summer. We have like a general understanding of where we stand in the rankings. And because of that, there's this intense competition and this intense pressure. And I've felt this pressure quite a lot, but I don't so much care now as I get older. And I think this is very much like a young gaze thing. It's like very superficial. I've only spent 20 years on the planet. That's the kind of vibe that this competition centers around. Um, so we're just going to talk about it and talk about why you shouldn't really care and why it doesn't matter and why you should live your life how you want to and not just because it's some competition. Like I was saying, the pressure and the feeling that this is a competition comes from the fact that we all kind of know each other. We're all inherently interested in one another because, as a gay person, it means that you're attracted to the same gender and the same kind of thing. So you're kind of stuck in this loop of a small community plus highly competitive, plus you want to find a partner or you want to, get with somebody. And the nature of gay men are just quite, I think a lot of us are quite chatty. A lot of us like to gossip and talk and um, you get to a point where everyone kind of knows what your vibe is, and you get to a point where everyone sort of knows who you are and who you've been with and what you've done. And you garner a reputation, whether it is good or bad, for previous relationships. I know a couple that broke up really, really publicly over Snapchat and Instagram, and people still talk about them in that regard. These two people haven't been together for years, and yet they're still regarded as very closely connected. Um, and so, your reputation is a big factor. I've talked about this before. Um, but the competition never sort of ends until you just decide to leave it. And originally, when I was making this video and I was coming up with ideas that I wanted to talk about, I was just talking about how if you feel like you're in a competition and you don't want to be, you can get out. And I think this is the piece of advice that I'd like to bring into this video, where if you feel as though the competition is too draining, too physically demanding, too soul crushing, too irrelevant, too stupid, too ridiculous, it is very possible to leave this competition, especially in the gay community. You do not have to compete. You do not have to engage. Um, as a result, just stop gossiping, maybe don't post so much on Instagram, on all the social media things. Focus on the relationships that you actually care about. Don't just chase something because you feel as though you have to, because you're at a certain age or you look a certain way or you should act a certain way. Don't feel like you have to do any of that, because this competition is so irrelevant. And I think talking to older people, gay and straight, one of the biggest pieces of advice that sticks with me every time is when they almost invariably say, you know what? I used to freak out a lot when I was a younger person. Like, I cared so much about what other people thought. I cared so much about my reputation and, how the consequences of that would affect my life. And I got to a certain age and I just stopped caring. And they always talk about this sense of freedom and release that they feel once they stop caring what other people think. And that's at the root of what we're talking about today. We're talking about the competition within the gay community, and that all boils down to what people think. And you get to choose if you care what they think. You get to choose if you give a damn about some person going to brunch with another person and your name comes up. Who cares? Typically, these people are jealous or flattering, or, if they saw you on the street, they'd be like, oh my God, hi, how are you doing? It's so good to see you, So at the end of the day, the gossip and the competition really doesn't matter, because you just need to focus on what you're looking for. And, if you're looking for a committed partner, hopefully you'll find one that isn't interested in this competition and isn't interested in having some wandering eye when the next best thing comes by. This is my advice to you. Don't play this competition. Get out of it and live your life. And if you want the super toxic advice at the last minute, go to the gym, eat healthy, like do regular mindfulness activities, meditation, whatever works for you, and post about it all the time. Go on nice trips and post about it. Get your friends to take nice pictures of you. And, it's like, to win the competition, it's so easy. It's really not hard. But I would highly recommend not playing the game, not being in the competition, and just living your life how you want to. Be happy. You might get some nice pictures to look back on, but you'll also remember how stressed you were and how bad you felt about yourself and how bad other people made you feel about yourself. And that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to let happen. So don't do it. That's my advice. I hope you're not really in a deep competition with your peers. I hope you just feel like life is a joy and you're getting better every day and you're not competing against anybody but who you were yesterday. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful week, a beautiful month, a beautiful year. Whatever you're having, I hope it's amazing. And as always, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.